It all began last fall when my blood pressure went up, 167 over 100. For those that doesn't know, the normal is 120 over 80. This was too high for me. First time it happens to me. So I sort of like get so scared. I thought I was just getting a stroke. That puzzled me because I was not doing anything that warrant a high blood pressure. Not only that, the medication did not work. So these three things sort of scared the bejesus out of me. Now, so it was weird. Before I go on, let me just tell you who I am. And for those who doesn't know me, my name is Dr. Lily Lace. I'm a physician. What I wanted you to know is that I'm a very curious person since little. And I remember since when I was, 6, 7 year old, asking question of how does the body work? Or how do we keep ourselves feeling good? Because I remember I was a very sick child. I would spend a lot of time on doctor or even in the emergency room. So maybe I was asking that about myself. And this curiosity brought me into studying medicine. The other thing I wanted you to know is that I have a passion for astronomy. I love astronomy. Then, because of this last fall, when I presented these unexplained symptoms, it put my thinking cap to work. So that's what I started doing the research. The event that triggered me to investigate about the increased solar activity and the relationship with the human health is that on May 10 to 12, there was a report of increased solar activity that disrupted the GPS of farmers. I don't know whether you know the farmers, the big commercial farmers, they use the GPS on their tractors to help sow or to help till. They need the GPS for direction. And apparently that weekend, none of these GPS on all of these farmers work. So then that triggered my curiosity. I'm like, okay, it called my attention to look at the sun. Something was happening to the sun. Creating this video, I discovered that they've been studying this forever. They already know a lot of correlation between solar activity and human health, behavior, and everything brought me into solar flares. Now I'm going to show you my research. So the question is, how does the sun activity affect our health? During my research, I need to look for validation. Look, this is a journal of the American Heart Association, and this is published in October 2021, not so far away. And it says that the solar activity is associated with diastolic and systolic blood pressure in elderly adults. Okay, next study. Well, this is environmental health. The title is a little bit complicated, but just to tell you that in these 263 cities in the United States, they have found that solar activity increases the mortality by the cardiovascular. So most of the people that die are from heart causes in United States. Okay, now there's another one. Oh, this is a study where I underline it in red. And it's a study in Russia. And they found that in these 3 years, there were 6.3 million diagnoses that requested an ambulance. And during the 3 years of high solar activity, 1979 and 1981, and show that 85,800 of the myocardial infarction or heart attack were linked with solar storms. So, hey, I think we have something here, and we can pinpoint that the solar flare is doing something to us. Now, this is another study done in Russia too, where they already studied this so much, and they say not only your heart is affected, your blood is affected. Okay. And what else? And your blood pressure and the stroke and headache. Look at headaches. Now, the solar flares and pandemics, this is the ideal study that went on for 400 years, close to 400 years, and included about 100 of million of people. And it's this one. This is what it tells me that yes, solar activity does something. So This is the correlation between solar activity and the pandemic since the mid 1700s. Okay. But I want you to direct your eyes to the right side here, the closest one after 2000. Look, depending on the pandemic, it may coincide with the peak or the trough. Look at here, the last one. The SARS is the peak, coincided with the peak of a solar activity, and MERS. Look at the bottom, the green one. Before COVID-19 was the swine flu, and then at the trough of COVID-19. So now, let me just tell you, 2025 is the peak is the peak of this cycle of solar activity. So can we all predict that there may be coming another pandemic? So this is the study and the graph that really convinced me, yes, we have to pay attention to the solar activity. Okay, so solar flare not only affect your heart and your body, it also affects the mind. So I found this graph about correlating solar flare with social revolution, also from the 1700s until 20. Look at this. Let's look here. The peak of the solar activity coincided with the American Revolution, French Revolution, and the Italian Risorgimento, then the communism, but then it also, here at the end of communism, the Cuban Revolution. So now again, we're at the peak of another solar activity. And you already can feel the social agitation and the changes that are around the world. So basically, solar flare is a thing, guys. It affects us. And this is the conclusion. And that's why I say I need to bring it to the public. So, how is your health lately? Have you had any unexplained health symptoms since last year or even at the beginning of this year, 2025? So please type the word health on the comment box below so I know that you've been through the same experience. And watch the next video for real stories of solar ascension symptoms.